Hi folks, welcome back, and we're back to the Warhammer Resurrection event, Game 1. I took my Lizardmen to the event held in South Wales. It was an absolutely brilliant event. I should show you a few more snaps of some of the different armies that are there, but obviously as the event goes on I get a bit more knackered and take less photos. So on those battle reports I'll chuck them in there. But this was my first one, so I got plenty of photos in this one. I'll probably have a quick go over my Lizardmen army just so you know what I've got, and I'll try and give a bit more thoughts on tactical advice that I kind of looked at and how I looked at each game. Alright, let's get started. So on my opponent's left flank he has a small unit of Knights of the White Wolf, a unit of Pistoliers, a couple of great cannons, a large unit of Spearmen with a mounted battle standard bearer who has joined them, his elect count on Griffin, and a detachment of Handgunners. And that unit, I believe the BSB was carrying the Griffin standard. Along with those, it's also got a detachment of Halberdiers and a classic captain on Pegasus, ideal for running out and taking out, artillery pieces and stuff. A bit like how my Jaguar Warrior generally works. And then on his right, he's got his Unbreakable unit. He's got a unit of Knights, unit of Flagellants, which is actually sitting on an objective. This will be an objective-based game. Another unit of Pistoliers, and a good old steam tank. Thankfully, I've had a couple of games with mine now, and I know generally how hard they can be, and also how fragile they can be, depending on what it's fighting against. So my army has 3 units of skinks, all with javelins, and because we're playing WYSIWYG, so I couldn't bring any of my bow on, which I normally use as Pistoliers. I have 2 units of 24 Saurus, or might have one less that has the character in. I have a unit of Jungle Swarms, so these guys are great. They hold everything I need, good for getting rid of big monsters, anything like that, just to hold things in position so my other units can help. Then I've got some Croxagors up beyond my Stegodon, who's in the centre, and at the top there's another unit of 24 Saurus Warriors. Also, I think in one of my skink units I have my Jaguar Warrior. When I say Jaguar Warrior, it's got the Jaguar Pendant, I believe it's called. Basically gives him movement 9. So with an 18-inch charge, he's great for running out and just taking on small units or going for artillery pieces. Just have a quick look at his army, because this is his first turn. So I'll start with a quick look at my opponent's army and what I think, what I can do with it. So on the right hand side, my opponent's got this cavalry force. Opposite there, I've got some skinks and my Jaguar Pendant Saurus hero. And as you can also see some odd bits of terrain around, it's an objective based mission. 1 in your own deployment zone is obviously worth very little to you, but you can capture your opponents, it's worth a lot. There's 3 in the middle. The one my opponent's got, I'll show you in a second, but that's under his flagellants, so I probably won't be getting that. So this flank, I'm thinking I'm quite happy with engaging up here with the skinks. I can flee from the Pistoliers or the cavalry charge if I want to, but if I can stand and shoot, I'll probably stand and shoot with my skinks. The chaps are surprisingly good in combat, and I also have my Saurus hero in there, so they should be able to mop up Pistoliers quite easy. After that, I think I'll be free running out with my Saurus hero and trying to mop up those knights. I've given him the biting blade, so that just gives him, with his strength 5, a -3 modifier to armor, so he actually has quite a good chance of eating through units like that. The one thing I'm always trying to be careful of is outnumbered by fears of causing enemy, because occasionally he does lose, and that can really do it. But against these guys I should be okay. His leadership 8 and cold-blooded is a nice combination. And then if you see behind there, he has actually got 2 cannons there, and handgun unit or crossbow unit, can't remember what it was now, and a wizard. There's lots of points sitting up there that he can run around and probably eat through. So as we move to my opponent's centre, he's got his main unit of Spearmen, and I'm quite happy fighting them in combat. I think my main blocks troops can easily take them on. I mean, I don't know he's got the Griffin banner in them, so I wasn't too sure on that. But my Saurus Lord, he's got 5 attacks, he's carrying a great weapon, and he's got poison and magical attacks, so I think he without a doubt can deal with that captain and probably kill him off in 1 round in a good challenge. And the unit itself I should be able to grind down, even though it gets double the rank bonus. The halberdiers could really spoil it for me if they can get into the flank, so I'll try and target them with some lightning, just to get rid of that unit strength of 5, so I don't get my flank denied. As for the, what's it called, electric count on Griffin, again, not too much of a problem. His terror bubble, I mean, my army, I try and set my armies up to be able to take on everything, and I know fear and terror is a big issue. So the leadership 8 in cold-blooded, there's a good chance my chaps will hold round. Skinks are 60 points. If they flee, they flee. I'm not too worried about it. If he gets close enough to me, I will charge him with my jungle swarms, and that'll be him done. Jungle swarms are very effective against large creatures, because large base, so I've got a lot of attacks. And these guys, downside with the Griffin, they don't have any armour, so they can go down really quick to poison attacks. And since my jungle swarms have poison attacks, that will help out a lot. And that will do it for the centre, I think. So as we look to the other side, we got the Pegasus there. I'm not too worried about that. I don't have too many soft, squishy units for him to take out. The Pistoliers again next to him. I'll stand and shoot with my Skinks if I can. If I can't, I will probably flee. Or if he's that close, I've probably got a chance to charge him anyway. He'd be hitting me on 5s with only 5 shots. It's not a good chance he'll cause a panic check, and I should be able to charge him at that point. I will, give my Skinks a good chance of combat. The only thing I have to be careful of, these guys got 2 strength 4 hits in the first round of combat, and that is pretty devastating. Behind them you can see the Flagellants. Now these guys are going to be a serious issue. Saurus can easily beat them. I'm not worried about that. Problem is they can pin them in place, and that is an issue. And considering he's standing on an objective with them, I don't see myself capturing that objective, especially with an unbreakable steam tank next to it. Again, I have the answers to a steam tank. I have the Croc Scores with their 12 strength 7 attacks. They can really do some hurt on a steam tank, so I'm not too worried about that up there, but I just don't think I can get it in time. By the time I move up there, deal with other things, I'm just going to push to that centre one and try and push them off if they get close to it. That little rock formation in front of the Pistolier is another objective. And on the left hand side, yes, he's got some knights. I've got my Skinks up there. I'll just go and wave them around, try and draw them out to the other side, get some failed charges in, and maybe counter them with either my Crocs or my Saurus Warriors. Front charge, my Saurus Warriors will hold. I've got the rank bonuses, and I've got strength 4 and a good leadership. So after their charge, they are as good as gone. As long as I can hold, the first charge. If they do a surprising amount of damage, it could be different. Hitting on 3s, wounding on 3s. I might be 2s if they were in a circle and become strength 4. But either way, I'm pretty happy with my chance for my Saurus on that flank. As I say though, that objective is well out of my grasp. So down the bottom, I've moved my Skink unit up with the Jaguar Pendant chap inside, heading towards that objective, trying to stay out of range of the Pistoliers. Towards the centre, my Skink also move up as a shield. This just stops my opponent charging with his Griffin. I mean, I can take him. I'm not too worried about it, but there's no need for me to take him on. I have my counter for the Griffin, which is the 5 bases. I mean, that's 30 wounds. I mean, these guys were heroes throughout these tournament, that's for sure, and I'm sure I'm going to see a lot of swarms in the next tournament I go to now. But with poison and that, yep, they can push up forward and easily sort out that Griffin. Also, I've got an objective just next to my dice there, my turn marker, so I don't want to move my Saurus up too far. And the Stegodon is just hiding behind the hill, just to save him from some cannons for a bit, and everything else just moves up, as you can see. On my left hand side, my opponent charges in with his Pistoliers, and I try and stand and shoot, and I managed to kill one off. One wasn't quite as good as I was hoping, because if I can get a panic check on these guys, I mean, their leadership's 7. This is another downside of having a general on a Griffin, because once he's flying about, his leadership is gone elsewhere. But as I can see, he's probably going to kill a lot. I mean, he's got, 8 attacks there, hitting on 3s, wounding on 2s. So I'm going to lose my Skinks. They're going to flee. But if he overruns, he's going to go straight into my Saurus. Otherwise, my Saurus are charging him. Either way, I'm quite happy with that. You'll probably do a bit of damage to my Saurus, but they'll be minced. With no actual armour to speak of. I mean, they've got light armour mounted, 5 up save, toughness 3. My Saurus should do some work. Yeah, I mean, these guys can do some damage with their multiple attacks at strength 4, and they're quite effective against Saurus. I mean, it's armor-piercing attacks, but you don't want to be running into the front of Saurus. Now again, on the other side, yeah, I standard shoot and actually managed to kill 2 off, which is perfect for a panic check. But they actually passed good old leadership 7, and they continue their charge in. They're going to do some damage again, without a doubt. I forgot to mention the last one, they've also got the horse attacks as well. But as you can see there, I've maxed out with my skirmish unit, and my Jaguar guy, I've got corner to corner there, so he'll be getting his attacks in. Can't put him in the middle because it messes up getting me my maximised amount of skirmishes and base contact. So I put him on the flank there, so he's not a problem. I don't think my opponent could do much to him. Anyway, weapon skill 5, he's got a 1-up save, and yeah, he's quite a beast really. So they should be able to deal with that. On this side, yeah, my opponent wipes out my unit of skinks and charges straight into my Saurus. Not a lot I could do. I was hoping for the panic check. I could have fled, but he was actually... and yet, no, there's no advantage for them fleeing. This way, they've gone into my guys, and they should be able to make shorter work of them. I mean, there's an outside chance they could do a lot of damage, but to be fair, my Saurus multiple attacks and ranks and standard should beat them in combat anyway. And on the flank, yeah, my boys ate well, but geez, they did about 4 wounds to my poor old skinks. I suppose charging in with the arm piercing does get rid of my 5-up save, so it's not that impressive. They have hand whip and a shield, and that is it. So yeah, they did okay, and I ate them. But now this unit is free, and as I say, my Saurus guy will leave now, while my skinks are still unit strength 5 or above. So I'll probably put them in hiding, ready to grab that objective towards the end. So in my turn, I actually charged into the Pistoliers with my croc scores, which actually panicked them, and they fled. So I got my pursuit, and my Saurus didn't go very far, but man, did the croc scores chase them. Yeah, it's a bit of a bizarre upset there, because I think the croc scores had to come. It would have gone into the flank and then turned and then chased them. Yeah, so they're quite a way up. My Saurus are a bit way behind there. That's why I've marked them, as you can see. And on the other side of the table, my lightweight can opener has a go at take on these Knights of the White Wolf. And these guys have only got a 3-up save anyway, so that should be reduced to a -3, 6-up save. So yeah, he's got a good chance of doing some damage here, being strength 5 against their toughness 3 as well, and weapon skill 5 against their weapon skill 4. So yeah, quite happy with this choice here. So my opponent's previous turn, he had flown his commander over my army to grab this objective. I was completely happy with that. That's what I had my jungle swarms there for, and they charged. The only downer with this is that I've only got 3 in base contact, and I can only hurt the beastie with poisons because he's toughness 5 and the swarms are only strength 2. But other than that, they are poisoned. If I get any 6s, those wounds are going through because that griffin has got no save, and I'm quite happy with that. For him to get through 30 wounds is going to be a hard task. But as you can see, I think the combat must have already happened because I've lost some wounds, though that could be from shooting. So on my turn, I just did a general advanced elsewhere. In the centre, my Stegodons moved up just to try and terror bubble that detachment and spear unit. I mean, it's not a high chance that it happens, but if it does, it's always great because it can very quickly push a flank away. Terror is pretty savage. In the centre, I'm just going to ignore the griffin. I say my swarm's sorting that out, and my general and the unit will go and capture that centre objective. And on the top there, as you can see, the only downside is I have now got my croc scores to a point where they can be flank charged by that Captus. I just have to hope he's not armed with something too over the top. Here's just a quick big overall shot so you see what's happening. Now, as I said, at the time I didn't know he had the Griffin banner, so when he charged in with his spearman, he passed his terror test and no problem whatsoever. Now, this is going to be a problem for me because the sheer rank bonus is now at +6. There's no way my Stegodon is going to kick out that kind of damage. I mean, he's pretty good on the charge, but to break a unit from the front, not very likely. And the other downside with the Steg, he is only movement 6, thus I don't get a 3d6 flee, so he's just got just a good chance of running me down. So that is pretty terrifying on my side of the field. I just got to hope he doesn't get anything through, and my chap holds in time for my Saurus to turn up. Yeah, that's my flank charged by the Captus, passes fear check and charges in. I'd really hoped they had overrun far enough to escape his get out of his charge arc, but unfortunately was not to be. So hopefully, I mean, I've got 3 strength 7 attacks, there's a good chance I can kill the chap on top, and then after that the Pegasus should be easy. I think the Pegasus might have 3 wounds, so yeah, definitely be trying to hit the bloke on top. So this is how we're looking across the board. His knights had also charged in against my Saurus. At the top there, as you can see, my Saurus actually beat them. My Crocs actually held as well. In the centre, my Steg held. I've got my General just behind. Unfortunately, it's not going to be a way in for them, so he has to somehow survive another round of combat, which I doubt. Fortunately, I mean, there was a high chance I should have been able to flee, really. I wanted the Terror to try and... If he failed his Terror test, that unit would have been probably off the board. Just being a bit too hopeful for, but I could have easily fled. I have my General just behind, and with the leadership 8, she would have rallied, no problem whatsoever. And as you see down the bottom, my the idea of my Saurus hero easily dealing with those knights is not as grand as I thought. In fact, I don't think these are Knights of the White Wolf. I think these are his inner circle knights with lance and shield. I think that was the issue. So yeah, I think they've got a 1-up save, and I'm just might do 1-2 damage, but I'm not getting through there. But luckily with the leadership 8 and cold-blooded, he is holding. Otherwise, that could suddenly go the wrong way there. And in centre, yeah, the Griffin is losing a couple of wounds. I'm losing some wounds, but I still think I've got it there. I haven't mentioned much of my wizards. There's one at the top left-hand corner, hiding away there by that tower. And there's one down in the building at the bottom here. Both are Heaven's Wizards, thus out of sight, out of mind, and probably just trying to get second sight of ammo. That might well have been the thing that saved my Stegodon, being able to reroll one of my d6s. But yeah, that's how we're looking. And we had quite done the combat yet, so there we go. My swarms had finished off that Griffin. I thought it was about time he had. Unfortunately, he didn't have a foot model, so he's just used up one of his swordsman casualties, which is absolutely fine. And yeah, now I've got to get through this dude, and unfortunately, I don't think I will beat him up. He's carrying the armor of Meteor Iron for a 1-up save, and he has a 4-up ward after that, so he's pretty solid. I think if I want to, my general can come out of his unit and march his way across, and one-on-one, I think my general will have a pretty good chance of beating him in. So we're back over to my other turn. I know it's a bit confusing now. Those knights are dead. My Saurus actually beat them up and destroyed them, and then overran. I don't think I actually overran, did they? That's the next turn. But yeah, I thought I'd have a go at the steam tank. It's probably not a wise idea, but as you can see, the objective is just below them, so I'm actually holding this objective with them and my Crocs. In the centre, I've finally got my unit into a position where they can charge. I'm taking a few casualties. They were mostly from range shooting. I've got the cannons and the, I assume, crossbows or that there. My Stegodon has taken some wounds. My Skinks in the middle have just moved up and around to sort out and try and get the points for the detachments. So the left-hand side one I'm not too worried about. There's not much I can do this late into the game to remove a steam tank and the flagellants off that marker. I'll just go for the others. In my opponent's turn, he's broken my Stegodon and he flees, but as I said, my general is there, so I'm quite happy for him to rally. On the top hand side there, he has reversed his steam tank out of combat, and will now proceed to try and use the flame template on my unit, which is fair enough. And yes, because otherwise he would have charged back in then and there. His pilot, the engineer, can also pop up and have a few shots as well. That's how we're looking at overall. As you can see down the bottom there, my Skinks are being reduced in numbers, which is slightly alarming. My Saurus did eat up the knights, overran, wiped them out. I think I did try and overrun into the war machines, but I think they actually fled when the unit was destroyed. I'm not entirely sure, or I destroyed them and ate them as well. But either way, he's now sitting there. The wizards on my opponent's wizards now run to the other side of the tower, but I have got a line there where I can see both the cannon and the detachment, so I should be able to mop them up. Actually, yeah, I think the cavalry actually fled and survived, and I had to rechase them again from memory. In the centre, as we've already seen, at the top, all as we've seen, I don't think I've taken much more damage. That's just the damage for that top unit was from the knights and anything that the steam tank's doing, so I'm not too worried there. So let's have a quick look on this. at the top side, yeah, those knights are actually still there. I haven't killed them yet. They actually fled from my initial charge, and they rallied right on the edge and came back into the fight again. I think that's it, because I can't think how else they got behind me, because I've actually chosen to face the other way. I've moved my Crocs up into a position to maybe get charged or have a go at that steam tank. There's multiple strength 7 attacks can do a lot of damage to them. Looking at the artillery crew, my Jaguar dude is in amongst them. One cannon down, another cannon in combat. Should be able to destroy them, overrun into the missile unit and wipe them out. My Stegodon in the centre has rallied, and he's now facing down to charge the Elector Count and finish him off. And in the centre is a bit of a cluster. My main unit has gone in. Even reduced as I am now, I should still beat the Empire. My general should be able to take out his captain. I mean, my general, I think I've got Sotek on him as well. So he's got strength 7 attacks, and that really does a wonder on pretty much most things, as well as generally having poison and what's the other thing? Magic attacks. So he's quite a useful chap. My Skinks throw javelins and yep, take out the halberdier detachment, and now I can see these guys. They're swordsmen, not spearmen. I keep calling them spearmen. They're definitely swordsmen, but still, I'm quite happy going in here and giving these a good run for their money. Now I have a feeling my opponent actually allowed his chap on the horse, Captain Battlestandard Bearer, to come out and accepted the challenge, because I think he had. He's got a 1-up, no 2-up, because he doesn't have a shield. 2-up save. Let me think, sorry. So he's got full plate armor, the 4, barded, 2. Yeah, he doesn't have a shield because he's a BSB. He's got a 2-up save and thought he would survive. Unfortunately, my 6 strength 7 attacks did tear into him pretty well. I don't think I've done too many other casualties on the unit himself, and I've had few or no casualties back either. But that was enough to beat them in combat, and they actually caught them. It's not normally I seem to catch things in combat, so it was great to run those guys down too. So now my Jaguarosaurus has slowly started to rack up points. He's got the unit of knights. He's now got 2 cannons and is now running to detachment. This is why this is where this guy excels. Being small, single model, he's got a 360 line of sight, and being able to move 18 inches means he can really pick the fights he wants to get into. Here's just a quick overview of the other side of the field. I'm quite content with this charge. It never works out very well for human knights against Saurus, especially without not having strength 6. So you'll be hitting on 3s, wounding on 3s, but I have outnumber 2 ranks standard. There's a lot there to defeat, and I've got to come back with my attacks. I know they're only strength 4, which doesn't really break their armor, but you never know. I can get 1 or 2 through, and that makes a big difference. The cannon point blanks with cannonball shot, and actually takes out one of my poor Crocs. My Saurus actually mop up the knights. I don't know if I ran them down here, or they just fled towards off the table in too small a unit to actually rally. But yeah, they're gone. My Steg comes in and saves my swarms. My poor swarms have only got 3 wounds left to them, so he's actually managed to cut through 27 wounds worth of swarms. But as I say, their job is to hold them up, beat them up in combat. Outnumbered by vehicles, the enemy fled, and I don't think he was chased down. If not, no, he might well have been. He might have been chased down, but he's got 1 wound remaining, so you know. On the other side, my Jaguar dude beat the handgunners in close combat and ran him down. Again, being movement 9, he's got 3d6 pursuit, so yeah, he's really good at outrunning down these smaller units. And this is where he dies. I remember he dies at some point, and he finally gets destroyed here. I don't know what happened. I don't know if I broke him on my opponent's turn, or he doesn't rally. Either way, he is killed, removed, and it's over for the Elector Count. And this is how the game finished, and I think on a fair few of when I won the role to go first or second, I generally went second, because there was a lot of objective based missions, and to be able to grab the objectives, you really want to have the last turn. Yeah, I managed to get all but the opponent's file one. I think the wizard had suffered a panic check and fled the table at some point, I think when I was chasing down the knights originally. So he went. So all my opponents got left are his rare choices, the flagellants and the steam tank, and of course both unbreakable. So pretty reliable units for sure. It was a great game. My opponent was a really nice opponent to play against. He's got an army there, which I tried to put together when I was very young, getting into the game, and he's just getting back into it as well. The idea of the Griffin is pretty awesome, but the problem is you have General flies off, and the Griffin himself is very weak, and for 200 points it seems a bit of an investment. In a 3,000 point game, yeah, I think it's fine, because you can have another Leadership 9 General running around and keeping your men together. But I mean, you can try for Leadership 8 and roll with that, but having your General fly off and die is pretty disappointing sometimes. But that Terror Bubble is nice, and having 2 Terror units is even better. Yeah, something I might have to think about for my Lizardmen. So that is it for now. That is game 1, and a good solid victory. Might have been even a massacre to me in the first round. I can't remember my scores now. But yeah, a good opponent, a good day. But bearing in mind we are playing in someone's house, and this is during that really hot spell that we had in the summer, so it was pretty warm there. But everyone did alright, and it was good fun. So I'll see you on game 2.